Welcome back, everyone. MK Mueller here with 8 to Great, and I have a very special gift today to share with you. Her name is Peggy Marin-Smith, and she's a life coach in 5 different areas. And mostly today, we're going to talk about the incredible freedom of alcohol-free living.
I'm just excited to be here and very grateful.
Peggy Marin-Smith is a 5-time certified life coach specializing in alcohol-free living, which will be the majority of our topic today. Hopefully, we'll have her back on for these other topics. But I can't wait to hear about her alcohol-free living in her recent Paris trip, but we'll get to that. She's also a life coach in mindset transformation, success coaching, NLP, which I love so much, and hypnotherapy. Oh boy, oh boy. Through her signature Pura Vida, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Wonderful. Pura Vida approach. She helps clients create lives rooted in peace, purpose, and powerful daily habits. That's what it's all about, right? Daily habits. Peggy's work empowers individuals, especially women, to explore new ways of being alcohol-free and living with joy and pure possibility. You can find her on Instagram at Pura Vida by Peggy. So again, welcome, Peggy. We're going to start, if you don't mind, the 8 to Great way. In 8 to Great, as Peggy knows so well, we say that when we feel good, good things happen. And so we always choose thoughts that feel good. So our choose thoughts that feel good today is going to start with a gratitude from Peggy.
Great. When you just mentioned that a big part of our practice in the A to Great Forum is that we do gratitudes daily. It's something I've been doing ever since I read it in your first book that you shared with me. And so it's a very big part of my life. It's something that I exercise not only when I wake up in the morning, but throughout the day. So
Mhm.
I'm constantly just bringing myself reminders of little things and big things that I'm grateful for. So my gratitude for today is a big one. About less than 24 hours ago, I was on the road, multitasking as usual, and I got into a little bit of a hiccup on the road. So I was very nervous. The fear came in, the anxious thoughts. And so I just paused. I parked my car. I said, everything's going to be okay. And, I just brought myself back to that place of patience, of hope, of gratitude that no matter what, I was okay and that the car was going to be okay. I called
Huge.
a towing company. They came, I was patient. I waited in the heat, in the Tampa, Florida heat for over an hour. But I remembered, all the things that you have taught me and all the things that I have learned on this journey. And that's to no matter what kind of situation you're in, look for the good side of things. And if you concentrate on those feelings, then only good things can come. And even if things don't work out exactly as you might want them to, something good will come out of you just interpreting the situation in this new positive light. So I'm really grateful that I was okay, that my car was okay, that everything wound up working out, and that I saw the benefit behind this happening. So that
Mm.
would be my gratitude for the day.
I am guessing you were a huge blessing to the guy who drove the tour truck as well.
We had a great conversation.
I know, of course you did. I love it. Okay, well, we're going to start with, if you don't mind, how we met. What a blessed, auspicious day that was. And we both were in this tiny little room, and neither of us knew what to expect, right? Do you want to tell the story?
Sure, sure. It's one of my favorite stories because I think that it really allowed for me to really get into this coaching, mental awareness, personal development realm in my life. And it just so happened to be that we met in 2020, the beginning of 2020, right before
Mhm.
COVID.
Mhm.
So here we were, strangers in a networking meeting, ready to just embrace the topic of the day. And I'll never forget that you came right up to me with your book, which it wasn't this book, but I love this book so much that I just have to show it. It was your other book. And you said to me, you know what, I want you. Oh, no, no, I'm sorry. It was this book because guess what? You said text me and then you wrote down your website and everything, and I just thought nobody has ever done that. This is huge. This woman is amazing. And then you were just so kind and so warm, and you said to me, if what do you do? You asked me about what I did, and I said to you that I was actually just beginning my entrepreneurship path. and that I was helping my husband with our family business, and that I was just so excited about all things entrepreneur, related. So you said to me, what do you think about coaching? And I said, coaching? Oh my God. I love anything, that's personal development and anything that allows us to grow, from, an internal standpoint. And so I was just so amazed. And then I read your book, and I started doing my gratitude work, and then we connected again because I reached out to you, and then we just started working together during COVID in March, because during that time we talked and we shared, some of the things that were going on, and we weren't afraid to be our real selves, even though we didn't know each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, no, that's very, I think transparency has been right from moment one. And just for our viewing audience, I do not walk up to people and say, "Hi, would you like my book?" every day of the week. But you can spot a light from across the room, right? And I had done this little presentation. I think you had commented in the presentation, and I just went, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Who is that? Who is that?" And it just was meant to be. And the fact that we only lived a couple hours away from each other was such a blessing. And I said, "Hey, let's chat." You went through the Ideal Weight program, is that correct?
I did. And that was taking, for myself, it was taking a risk, because at the time I didn't think that I had a weight problem. I thought that for the most part, I ate very well. I was healthy. I had started going to yoga. I was taking steps to really just enrich my wellness. And so I thought, but you know what? This is MK. How could I not like just make this decision to invest in myself, to make the financial investment and to like learn about to your ideal weight and what sugar does to our bodies and to our minds. And it was one of the best investments. And it transformed my life. But this was in 2021.
Mhm.
And so I lost all this weight that was just weight that I didn't even understand, did not need to hang out, right? Like you don't realize, and you don't know what you don't know. So it was really transformational for me. And during that time, I was also able, to take a break from alcohol, because that was part of the process,
Mhm.
to give alcohol a break. And then I started realizing that I felt so much better, really just making that decision not to have a drink for whatever occasion. So this program was really transformational for me.
Mm, mm. So again, for our viewing audience, if you're not aware, we do have a couple of different books out there besides 8 to Great, and one of them is called 8 to Your Ideal Weight. And it's because when I got off sugar myself, which this year is 13 years, yay. By getting off sugar doesn't mean I never eat it, but I keep it below 20 grams of added sugar per day. And when someone taught me that skill and I realized all of my sugar cravings went away. All of them didn't even look good to me anymore. I said, "Whoa, my girlfriends don't know about this." And so I started just sharing it with them. And now we have I think we're close to 50 ideal weight coaches around the country sharing it with folks. So if you're interested in that, just message me or put it in the comments section. We love to hear from you. Speaking of comments, remember to subscribe. We've got lots of great topics and great guests, and it really helps us to grow this message for the world. We're looking to get to 100. We just started this channel, so we're looking for our first 100 subscribers this week. So please hit that subscribe button for us. So, right. So part of the Ideal Weight program, because it takes clarity to make those decisions, right? Where you stand at the party, not to stand next to the dessert tray or the snack area. There's just decisions that you have to make in social situations, and drinking blurs those. So when I first wrote the program for me and for my girlfriends, I said, we have to just take an 8 week break off. And some women do go back to some alcohol. They usually say not like it used to be, but many like you, Peggy, say, "Oh my gosh, I just feel better." And I have been alcohol free for some time, but I cannot wait to hear more about your journey. So tell us some of the benefits you felt from those first weeks after, again, not just releasing some extra weight, but the biggie of releasing alcohol.
I just felt like I was meeting this brand new woman that had been there all along and that just needed to really get in tune with the right people, the right mindset to really just realize that all this information was out there and that I could use that information to my advantage so that I could feel better. And like you said, when we feel better, like everything just works, for you when you feel better. And so it's almost so worth it to really invest in coaches and mentors that do this type of work, that teach you about these things that otherwise you wouldn't know. So I would have to say, especially after I made the decision to begin exploring my relationship with alcohol in July 2021, I was just on this pink cloud because my first goal was to just do it for 6 months and to see, how I just did, without alcohol for 6 months. I had only really been without alcohol during my pregnancies. And, if for, I can't even remember other occasions. So this was brand new. This was actually something that I was doing, and I was actually experiencing life without alcohol. I was meeting with friends for dinner, and I was going to parties, and I was still living my life the way that I had always lived it, except I wasn't saying yes to that alcohol, to the alcoholic beverage. And so in the beginning, it was a little hard because, you get the questions and you almost feel like I have to actually give you an explanation why I'm not having that glass of wine. So there's a lot of like mental things that you have to get through in order to just say to yourself, well, because this is my decision and I have a goal. And so I felt so empowered to just be able to say that and to just move on like nothing else was phasing me. This was my decision. I felt amazing about it. I was learning every day something new about being alcohol free. And I was also seeing the benefits. I lost even more weight because the alcohol went away. I was making different connections. I was doing different things. That was the most amazing part of it. I was getting in tune with nature and with my walks and being more deliberate. I started my morning me practice, which has been amazing and which I still do to this day. So my morning practice consists of gratitude, meditation, and movement. So every morning, wherever I am around the world or if I'm home, those are the things that I try to make sure that I can do and accomplish every morning before I start my day. And
I
I
love it.
went,
So I think you said your morning me.
yes,
I love that. And would you repeat those one more time?
sure. So my morning me consists of meditation, gratitude work, and movement. Those are my three things that I really try to incorporate into my morning routine daily. So when it comes to
Just,
meditation,
oh, sorry, just because I think our viewers are going to have lots of questions about this.
sure.
So tell us, again, is it just the three gratitudes? How long is the meditation? How long is the movement? Give us a little more about the Peggy morning me time.
Sure. So my meditation, I use the Calm app.
Mm.
It's been phenomenal for me. I just love Tamara Levitt, which is the one that does the daily calm. And so it's just the music, everything behind my meditation practice in the morning. I've got her calming voice that guides me in my meditation. It's a different topic every day. And so it can go anywhere from 9 to 12 minutes, but it's something that I try to do as soon as I wake up. It's
Love
my
it.
meditation first so that I don't get bombarded with all kinds of thoughts, all kinds of to-do things and all that stuff that happens in the morning.
The best time to do it. Yep.
Best time to do it. So that's the first thing that I do. Then I move on to my gratitudes. So I also have an app that I use. It's called the 365 Gratitude app. And millions of people are on this app all over the world. And they post pictures and gratitudes. And I mean, you become friends. I mean, I've been on this app for over 4 years. And so we share our gratitudes. We share, things that we're going through, and it's just magical. I don't know where I would be without my gratitude work. But initially, I would do 3 gratitudes with a partner every day. And that was amazing. So you can switch it up as long as you really believe in the concept behind being grateful and just be, really appreciative of the little things as well as the big things, right?
Mhm.
And then movement, I get myself out there. I brush my teeth, take a shower, get out there, do my walk and just embrace the world. Look up at the sky and just say, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing me to have this body that allows me to walk and to move. And then I just come back refreshed and ready to rock, right? So that's basically what I do wherever I am. I really am so happy that I have not lost my interest in following those practices, and it's something that I work with my clients on. I
Mm.
think that sometimes we say we don't have the time, right? I don't have 10 minutes. I don't have 10, 5 minutes to get out there. It doesn't matter how much time it is, as long as you do it. And you start with baby steps. And then the practices just become more of a norm.
Right. Yeah, I've been doing my gratitudes. Part of the Eight to Great coaching process is we do 3 gratitudes a day with each other, and then often we break into partners. But I have a group of coaches that I've been doing it with now. I think we're on our 16th year, and we simply email each other. And again, like you say, you get so close to them. So we have an email group, and you just say reply all. And what's amazing is not only do you become closer with them, but throughout the day, a new one will pop up because we all post at different times. We live in different time zones. And so it's so delightful to have those little gratitudes popping up. And then, of course, I'm doing my gratitudes for myself every day, but it's really nice to have that accountability, isn't it? To have somebody listening on the other end.
One of the reasons why I've seen evidence of that is because I do daily gratitudes with my daughter every morning. So I sit in the car with her. We could be driving. For example, she's a counselor at camp this summer. And so we'll get in the car like this morning and I'll say, okay, young lady, let's do our grats. It's time, it's time. And so, for example, she wanted to go right away today. And she said, okay, mom, I'm grateful for the yummy meal you made yesterday. I'm like, okay, yay. And she hadn't said thank you. And for her to say it this morning, it just like built this, it continues to rebuild this connection between her and myself. And so we do gratitudes every morning, which I love. And I know it's going to make an impact on her because I already see the impact that it's making on her.
And
And
she's
so,
a teenager.
yeah.
A teenager, guys. How old?
Oh, 14.
14. Yeah. It's such a gift, such a gift. My son and I did the gratitudes all the way through grade school and high school as well, until he got his own driver's license. And then, I wasn't riding with him as much anymore, though. But I know he still does gratitudes and I still do gratitudes. Okay, well, I know again, people are chomping at the bit to hear more about this alcohol-free living. So you've told us a couple of the benefits of more clarity. You started doing things you'd never done before. Did you have to change, what do they say sometimes? Playmates and playgrounds? Did you have to go different places and hang out with different people, or how did that all work?
In the beginning, I kept it very simple. I just decided to just do life the way that I had always done life with the people in my environment. And it was okay. It was okay. And then the more I did it, the more I felt comfortable around, these scenarios. Like, for example, when I met you at Sabrina's book club meeting a couple of years ago in 2022, everybody's having a drink around the bar. So we have a bar there, we have alcohol, and it's like, okay, it's been a while. I have no inclination to even go up there and order an alcoholic beverage because I already know how I'm going to feel afterwards. And it's not going to
Mhm.
be good. It's not
Yeah.
going to be good at all. So knowing that, it just continues to empower you to really just own your new lifestyle and feel empowered every single time that you do something different out of the norm. Everybody else is drinking. You're not. So, you kind of feel like a rock star because you don't feel average. You feel like you're doing the hard things because this is part of self-care, right? Doing things differently, approaching, situations differently. And especially if you've been doing it for a long time, right? Where, this goes back to habits.
Yeah, yeah. So again, we met in 2020, and this was 2 years later at another reception. And I love to sometimes get, this is Perrier, and I love to just get a wine glass and
Yeah.
just say, can I have some? Tell the bartender, can I have some Perrier Pellegrino? And can you put it in a wine glass? And that seems to quell the questions. If I'm running into people thinking, what, aren't you drinking or whatever? How do you answer? How did you answer in the early days when your friends were saying, oh, why aren't you drinking? Or aren't you drinking? Or are you pregnant?
So I would basically say I'm taking a break. I'm doing, some coaching. People already knew that I was in the coaching arena because I had already been certified through 8 to Grade in 2020. And so people already, I'm very, very outspoken about my journey when it comes to coaching. And so people already knew, that this is something that I'm all for. And so it was just like, I'm taking a break because I'm trying something different. And you know what? It feels really good.
I
Yeah, it feels
love
really
those are three great sentences. I'm taking a break, trying something new, and it feels really good. If that doesn't get people wondering, yeah,
good.
yeah, and but that's just great. But again, we don't have to change friends and playgrounds, do we?
We don't. I mean, if we want to, we can, right? Because it's in our power to do whatever we want to do. I didn't do it because I wanted to sort of see how I would do in those environments and how I could just really be a leader in this new world and be able to differentiate between that old lifestyle that I had for so many years and this new lifestyle, which felt so amazing and so empowering. And health wise, I felt so much better. So it wasn't only, about the networking and the having that need to have a glass of wine at a wedding or on vacation, right? Because it's everywhere you go. I mean, it still is. And it's sad sometimes. Sometimes I really feel bad when I go into these type of events and I see people that just don't look like they're doing too well. And you know that they're going to bang up on themselves the next day, and you know that they're not going to feel well for a few days. And it's kind of like, if only you knew, right? If only you knew that you do have control and that you can make a decision to better yourself and to feel better and to do bigger things with your life that than just following the status quo, especially for us women, right? We
Yeah.
have to wear so many hats, and we're told that we need to be these kind of women. And why? We get to make our own decisions. And it's still frowned upon. I mean, I go to places where, you'll have women, especially sometimes women, unfortunately, that feel like it's an attack on them when you kind of share that you don't drink alcohol, because that guilt, right? The whole, the mirror is there for them to see themselves and to
Mhm.
not really agree with the way that they're living their lives, but they're just doing it because it's what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
You don't have
Actually,
to
my
do it.
next, oh, so sorry. My next YouTube is going to be about turning envy into enlightenment.
I love
And
that.
that we can use when we meet somebody who says, instead of saying, oh, yeah, gosh, that's too far a reach for me, that we can really use them as motivation. But that's another YouTube
I
video.
love that.
Well,
Yes.
and here's something else that I found living alcohol free is I trade 2 hours for 2 hours, or sometimes 3 hours for 3 hours, meaning I'm going to go home. So, we got a funeral or we got a celebration of some kind, wedding, and I'm probably not going to be the last one out of the dance hall because the drinking just gets really intense after midnight, it seems. But I'm going to trade those 2 or 3 hours for in the morning. I'm going to have 2 or 3 wonderful hours of fun, productivity, life, maybe breakfast with friends that they'll be aching through. We'll just put it that way. So it is a trade-off. Another question I think I've heard along the way is, wait a minute, how do you celebrate big events? Certainly, you have a glass of champagne from time to time. So, how would you handle that question? How do you celebrate big events without alcohol?
Oh my God. I have like the perfect example. You know how you mentioned Paris earlier in the interview? Well, this year, last month in June, I had the pleasure of traveling down for a long weekend to Paris. And this was part of a VIP mastermind that I was part of. And so had the best time. I think I told you. I came back so empowered, so enlightened, so connected, so curious, so creative from this trip. And it was because I was around people like me. All the coaches that were there to celebrate these 6 months that we had spent with each other talking about, okay, who's writing the next book? Who's starting their new podcast? Who's doing their key? I have my keynote speech that I delivered. Okay. So we were celebrating all these key moments that had happened to us in the last 6 months. And not for 1 second, we went to the most amazing, extravagant restaurant. And we had this huge table in the restaurant, and everybody was just looking at us like we were like, who are these people, right? And we all got dressed up, and I even had a photo shoot, my first photo shoot in Paris, and it was just, oh my God. So all of these are ways that you celebrate yourself. You don't need alcohol. I had my photo shoot. I felt amazing. I was myself. I wasn't numbing, so I got to feel it all. I got to see it all. And guess what? I get to remember it all. Because when you're drinking
Mhm.
alcohol, you block out a lot of what goes on. So
Mhm.
you don't have these cherished memories. I can remember everything that I did. And to this day, I get in my car, I'll hear a song, and it'll remind me that guess what? On that Saturday night, I was walking down Champs-Élysées, and guess what? There was this performer singing All of Me by John Legend, and I just stood there in complete awe and was just like, oh my God, this is life. This is what life is all about. So,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. And there are just so many ways to celebrate, right? And and to know sometimes I will get up from the table and get some coffee for someone or something, or excuse myself, while people are doing the toast. I mean, I certainly am them for the toast, right? Because I you can toast with anything.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you have, are you coaching some people now through the getting off alcohol? And if so, what is that process looking like?
So what I enjoy most right now in this present moment is working with women. I don't mind working with men, but I just like working with women because I just feel like if I can make a difference in the life of another woman, it just gets me closer to true happiness. And so right now I enjoy working with women on a one-to-one mentorship program setting. So I work with women for 8 weeks. I feel like it takes 8 weeks, which is what it took me, to really learn about your relationship with alcohol, to try different things. So I give guidance and advice on different ways where you can start incorporating this new lifestyle. I introduce the morning me practice, which a lot of women are like, oh, and I'm like, try it. And then once they start doing it,
Yeah,
it's like they just become part of this like brand new world.
yeah.
So I'm very big on the morning me, working on, limiting beliefs, because since I was so lucky to be able to get certified 5 times through the program that you mentioned before, I've done some mindset coaching and success coaching. So we look at women's dreams and goals, right? And I try to focus more on dreams. We try to, like, let's not make this about, okay, if we don't get to this goal, you're a failure. No, let's focus on your dreams. What do you want to do? What's holding you back? Let's learn about alcohol. Let's learn to make the decision that you might not want to have that glass of wine and that you could do something a little bit differently. How did you feel afterwards? So we talk a lot about thoughts and feelings and how to get to that place where we're on the pyramid going towards the 95, right? And so I use a lot of my 8 to great along with, the other coaching that I've done and a lot of my experiences. So I'm not afraid to share about my life and about the tough times and how I've been able to get through tough times without the need to numb. And then also the scientific theory behind everything I've learned about alcohol. Alcohol is poison. It's considered ethanol, which if you go to the, get gas for your car, that's what you're putting into your body. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. That is what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. I love that phrase, need to numb. I want to come back to drinking before bedtime because I just learned how bad that is for us. But the need to numb, again, I think a lot of people are of the mind that they can really only speak their mind. They can really only be authentically who they are and that wild, childlike, fun person inside with alcohol. What do you tell somebody in that situation going, oh, but that's when I can really unleash me? What might you say?
I like to say that's not really the real you. Let's get to know the real you
Mm,
without that beverage. You
yeah.
know, I mean, all it is a beverage. And it's a beverage that unfortunately, carries a lot of glamorizing from the world.
Mhm.
But if you do the work to learn about what alcohol is really doing to our bodies, I mean, the percentage of women unfortunately contracting breast cancer is one example. The numbers are outrageous. And if you don't know that, then you don't do anything about it. And then other types of cancers, right? So that's the big
Mhm.
one. But there's other types of cancers that are directly related to alcohol use. And it's not even alcohol abuse, it's alcohol use.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
another very big thing that I learned is that, a lot of people think that either you're a black drinker or a white drinker, that there's no gray area, right? So either you're like at the extreme of drinking or you're someone that can handle your alcohol. There's no such thing. What about everybody else that drinks and that, like we were talking about the other day, that hasn't had a DUI or hasn't been given a diagnosis? What about all those poor people that are drinking a lot and luckily haven't come across any of these things, but don't know what the alcohol is doing to their bodies?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the risks. They don't know anything.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Dr. Mark Hyman. I've got some other folks that I follow, but he was my original inspiration for 8 to Your Ideal Weight. And I just listened to a podcast of his on a drink within 3 hours of bedtime, and what it does to your sleep patterns. And as I, move into my 70s, and I'm proud of it, sleep is precious, and I'm going to do whatever I need. I know what happens when I don't sleep well and all of the impacts. Talk about, greater cancer risk, but there's so many things that we're more at risk for when we don't. Alzheimer's or any
Yes.
kind of dementia. So I really, really, really value my sleep, and knowing that alcohol is going to be a problem for that. And again, I would encourage our viewers to just Google that, what alcohol does to your sleep patterns. Because I think before, I don't know, in the last few years, I really thought it helped you get to sleep.
Mm-hmm. That's what
And
we've been told. Yeah,
I think
that's
it's a misconception, right?
it is. It is a misconception because even when you've had alcohol throughout the day, it will still mess with your sleep.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's
that's
worse
true.
when you do it right before bed because now, it's interfering with all the stages of the sleep cycle, right? Because it's right before. But if
Right.
even if you do it 6, 7 hours prior, I already know what's going to happen. I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night. I'm going to start to feel anxious. I'm going to start to feel guilty that I went and I did something that I'm so not, you know, for doing anymore. And, it's just another thing that I feel that drives a lot of my yearning to live this lifestyle in my clients is all the famous, successful people that don't drink alcohol. You have Tim Robbins. I mean, is it Tim Rob? Did I? It
Yeah,
is Tim.
no, Tim
Yeah.
Robbins. Yeah.
Yeah. Tim Robbins. I mean, he's phenomenal and he doesn't drink. And he also has a morning routine, which is a little bit more robust than mine because he's getting into, the ice cold plunge and doing all these like, things, but he doesn't drink. I mean, Glennon Doyle, who's amazing. And I follow her podcast. She doesn't drink. And it's been so many years. Brene Brown. I mean, so many people out there. Like Drew Barrymore, who's in the, entertainment industry.
Hmm.
Bradley Cooper, he doesn't
Bradley
drink.
Cooper doesn't drink. Right. And
Yeah.
I said, again, it doesn't shock me, but most people wouldn't assume that someone like Bradley Cooper would be alcohol free. But it's becoming more and more the norm. And I'm wondering if 5, definitely 10 years from now, we're going to say that was the smoking of
Hmm.
this generation, right? Because my parents smoked, everybody smoked, and they had to wean themselves off. Unfortunately, my dad did go back and died of lung cancer. Um, but they just started to understand the negative impacts of nicotine by the end of his life. And now I really think we're starting to see, well, sugar, which again, I'll do another show on sugar down the road, but to understand that this is the thing that everybody goes, well, everybody drinks, and they drink a lot, and they
Hmm.
start at noon on the golf course or whatever. And it just you can build up such a tolerance for it that you think, oh yeah, alcohol doesn't affect me. Boy, oh boy, talk about a misconception, right?
It does because the brain becomes addicted to the substance because now your dopamine levels, those first 15 minutes are so, but they say that those first 15 minutes of that first drink, the dopamine hit is so high that that's why you're ready for that next drink because you want to try to get back to that place. What people don't know is that you could never get back to that place because now in your brain, all these chemical things are happening that are telling your brain no, no, and yes, no, and yes. and it's all over the place. And that's why alcohol decides to just begin to own your brain and your body, and you lose
It's
control. You lose
absolutely.
control.
It's so similar to sugar, right? You have that sugar at breakfast, and then all of a sudden, everything else for the rest of the day tastes like cardboard because you've hijacked your taste buds to expect, oh, this is what
Feels
I'm what tastes good.
yes.
And yeah, and it's the same kind of issue of that hit. Oh, but I want that hit. And what I know you and I have discovered, Peggy, and we talk about it all the time, is life is one hit after another for us, right? I mean, we have so much to celebrate. So I just want to celebrate you and the wonderful work that you're doing and the wonderful life that you're living, and you're lucky, lucky, Lila, to have you as a mom.
Thank you.
So any last words you want to share with our viewers? And then I want to get your contact information so people know how to contact you.
Sure. I would just share that it's never too late to decide to try something different. It's never too late to take a risk and to do something different. It's okay to be different. It's okay to make a mistake, right? Even when you're going through the process, to make a mistake. It doesn't mean that that's who you are. You're worthy no matter what you do. And to just have your own back and to do the internal work, right? To get to know yourself. And the only way that you're going to get to know your real self is to be present, to feel all your feelings, to show up with full responsibility, to take the risks that I mentioned before, and to follow the formula, right? FGH, forgiveness for the past, gratitude for the present, and hope for the future. That's how I live my life, and that's how I can help you if you're interested. Begin to start this new life of yours. That it's never too late to start. So I would love to change. If I could change one life a day, I mean, to me, that's what I live for.
Mm,
And I think empowering our girls, our young girls more than ever, and giving them the facts about the alcohol, because I didn't have these facts when I was growing up. I learned a lot later. But I think that because our coaching environment is so open to this alcohol-free approach and sharing it with the world, and it not being tabooed as much as it was decades ago, I think is going to set our youth up for success, because they're going to know that they have a decision to make. Do I take the poison or do I not? Do I follow everybody knowing what I know about this poison? And that's what I try to teach my daughter. And I hope that, she's getting the messages. She is a teenager, but she's getting the facts, from her mom. So that's what I want to do. I just want to empower the world so that we can, live a better life, live better lives, and be the women that we want to be.
mm.
And so you can find me best at Pura Vida by Peggy on Instagram. That's where I put all my content. That's where I share my experiences and my quotes, and just the way that I'm living my life and the programs that I'm offering. I also like doing retreats. So I did a few retreats a couple of years ago, but I'm looking to see if I can do that in 2026. So I feel like getting in a space where you're on a one-on-one with all different types of women and mindsets really allows you to go back to your normal lives and really just it just allows you to come back as a different person. So I'm thinking about locations for next year, but I'd love, to open up those invitations to my client groups and to the rest of the world, because it's something I've been involved with, and I think investing in those opportunities in our life is huge. So you can do it. You can really do it. Try not to allow your limiting beliefs, because we all have them. It's stuff that I still work on. Just pushing those to the side and just trying to analyze, why they're there in the first place, and then saying, you know what, I want to try something different is all you
I,
need.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I don't know about all of you out there, but I do know that for me, doing it with someone is the difference maker, right? I wanted to do strength training recently, and I kept saying, okay, I'm going to go 3 times a week. Okay, maybe I'm going to go 2 times a week. Okay, maybe one time. Okay. And until I committed to meet a friend at Planet Fitness, right, which happens to be free uh, on my insurance plan for silver sneakers, I wasn't going regularly. And now that I have that person that I meet there, that 30 minutes is just so easy. I put on my tennis shoes with a spring in my step, getting excited to go there. So again, working with a coach to me is just it's just the difference maker for so many people. And I cannot recommend Peggy enough, because she's the real deal, right? And and I love the fact, Peggy, that you do over the years in our conversations, when we do have a dip in our journey for whatever reason, we're both always there for each other, and not to scold each other or to wag a finger at each other, but just to support each other and say, what do you need? How can I support you? That is so huge. So thank you
Grateful
so
for you.
much for your time today, dear one. And again, everyone, please subscribe. You make a difference for us, and hopefully we're making a difference for you. And when you subscribe or even comment, that really helps us to know how we can grow this wonderful message of peace, love, hope, and FGH to the world. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Take care, sweetie.